I'm very close to my brother. He has seen my highest moments and he has seen my lowest moments. And it's been a journey together.
For me, when I've ever struggled with God or struggled with why is this happening or why are we going through this, I've been able to ask her and turn to her and just get that encouragement that sometimes I don't feel like I get from God, or my heart's not open enough to see it from God or to hear it from God. But then there's someone in my life that He works through and speaks to me through her.
It started in youth where I begin to know Jesus personally and have a very personal relationship with him. And I think it was in my second year of university when I had a really low point in my life and I stopped going to church. I wasn't really sure what I believed anymore, and I wasn't really sure who Jesus was, and it was a really, really low point. And I hit rock bottom, and somewhere in that time, Jesus found me, and He revealed Himself to me, and I began to know that I was loved, and He cared about me, and He wanted a relationship with me. And it was at that point that I knew that I wanted Him and only Him, and I began chasing after Him. And I think that's when my journey really began with Jesus. And the more I began to know Him and spend time with Him, the more real He became to me, and the relationship I had with Him just continued to grow. And that's been my journey thus far.
For me, I think that it's time to identify personally with Jesus. I think that, like I said before, it's been hard to get that personal connection, or just to be able to feel like I belong in God's kingdom or hands or whatever. But I think at this point in my life, I want to finally. I think I know I've always want to be in a relationship with Jesus, and I always want to serve God, but I think until I finally can say it and just be completely dedicated to it and committed to it, and this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
I guess this is a moment I feel that's most appropriate for me to get baptized. I think being in the church all my life and growing up in this church and being surrounded by people that I know and I'm comfortable with, I want to let everyone know that I love Jesus and that I'm crazy about Him. And for the first time ever, I'm moving out and I'm going to be on my own. And I realize that I'm leaving my bubble. I'm leaving my church bubble, my family bubble, this Christian bubble that I've created for myself. And I'm going into new territory where I know nobody, and I have a job to do, which is make a difference in people's lives. And I feel like I want to culminate my journey here in Mississauga in this church with being able to display my love for Jesus, surrounded by those that love and support me, and then continue that journey in a new place where I can impact people's lives and tell people about this love that I know so deeply and personally, and say, hey, do you want to know about this? Because I can tell you about it. And in that sense, bring people into God's kingdom and continue carrying out the work that Jesus started when He was here on this earth.
My name is Caleb, and I have decided to follow Jesus.
My name is Candace, and I have decided to follow Jesus.
He's a guy who I look up to because he never ever sinned, and I know that I can't never ever sin because everybody does, but I want to be like him, and I want to try to be more like him. I feel like amazing type thing. Like he's with me, I feel like I could do anything. Like not bad things, I meant like I could do so many courageous things. Help people. I want to take it to another level. I don't want to be just, because everyone can say, oh, I'm following God. I just want to take it to another level where I am actually doing something to show that I love Him so much. My name is Ben, and I decided to follow Jesus.
See, he came to my life. He introduced himself to my life. Basically, I wasn't even looking for him. I always loved God, but I didn't know Jesus. So he came to my life without me knowing it, and since then he lifted me up. Jesus was so kind to me. I see so many bad things in my life that he always been beside me and always helped me in my life. As I told you, I came out of my country since when I was 12, and he was always on my back. Always. I want to be his. I want him to be part of my life. I want him to understand that I chose him. Nobody forced me. I wasn't born Christian. I chose him. I want him to accept me as his child. My name is Miriam, and I decided to follow Jesus.
When I first come here, I was like so scared because, I'm not used to it. Like, I'm more on the traditional way. But now when I'm here, like, I felt it. Like from time to time, like, thank you. I thank, God. And then, that, like, you're there. Like, you really answered my prayers. I'm somebody. Like, I'm with Christ, really. Like, that's the most exciting things that, like, that will happen to me. I'm in a relationship with God. It's not only that, I'm praying because I need to. I'm praying because He's really with me, beside me. And I really thank God for that, and I'm happy. Like, I'm looking forward for the water baptism. I'm Nicolette, and I'm decided to follow Jesus.
Well, it saved my life in more ways than one, rather than what you always think that it is. It really did, because I grew up very depressed, heavily medicated, attempted suicide a couple times, and then I got saved, and took, till about Christmas. Got saved in March. Around Christmas time, it was really heavy on my heart. Stopped taking my meds. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want anyone to be any different with me. I just wanted to be myself and have the strength and Jesus to help me to not be depressed anymore and get off my meds. And I stopped them cold turkey. And it's been 10 years now, and I'm here. I'm married. I can drive. I have a great job, and all these things are maybe things that people maybe take for granted. But when you're in that dark of a place, you can't drive, you can't work, you have no friends, you're just very alone. And to be here today, to be married for 8 years, and it's just really incredible. And that's why I say I really saved my life, and I'm doing things on top of that I never thought I'd ever be able to do. I went from working in warehousing and stuff, and never thought I'd be able to get out of that, to not being able to work for 2 years because of my back. But God provided and got us through it. And I work in an office. I work in purchasing now, and it's something I never even thought would be possible for me. So it's, like I said, it's really saved my life, and I really want to be an example to my family and my dad in particular, because he suffered with it his entire life, and they don't know Jesus, and I really hope that this will help them to know. I need to take the next step forward in my walk of God, to be the man that He's called me to be, and to even more be an example to my family and friends and people that I work with. My name is Ryan Hurst, and I've decided to follow Jesus.
Actually, about 9 years ago, I experienced a lot of tragedy in my life, and my whole world just fell apart. And everything that was important to me, I lost. And so I was still working at the time, and I remember I would go to work every morning, and I would meet this woman in the kitchen. We'd make our coffee together, but it was always just hello, and we just each go to our own different departments. We just say hello and talk a little bit about the weather, and that was it. But there was one morning when I came in, and I was really hurting inside, and my emotions were I was trying to keep it together, but all it took was her to say, "How are you?" And that was it. I started to cry and I was weeping uncontrollably, and she pulled me aside and we went into a small meeting room and for privacy, and she prayed for me, and I told her what was happening in my life, and she told me about God, and she encouraged me to go to church. She encouraged me to start reading my Bible, and but the problem was I didn't believe in God. Because I was in such a state of turmoil and just hopelessness, I listened to her and I started to ask. My prayer was, "Are you real?" Because I don't believe. And I started to read my Bible, and the Lord started to answer my prayers through His Word. And so I started to believe. I remember one day distinctly that because I'd been receiving answers from the Lord, and I wanted to be part, I guess, of, I just wanted to give myself to Him. So I did that. I prayed. I said, "Lord, just," my life was in such a mess at the moment, and I know I just made a mess of it. And I said, "Lord, take my life. I don't want it anymore. Just take it." And the funny thing is, though, that I didn't know that that's how I became a Christian. After I said that, I just felt the forgiveness and the freedom that comes from repentance. And I just came to a knowing that I understood that the things that I've done were so wrong. And, just everything changed for me. And I just felt His love and His freedom from all the things that I'd done in the past. And just this amazing love pour down on me. My name is Norka Lauper, and I have decided to follow Jesus.